Let's see if y'all can see me, hear me, smell me, whatever. I won't say feel me. Feel me. 0x0 Patriot Preachers, smartass. Okay, let's see. There's Paul Garrick. He's the winner today at 5x5. Let's see, we get a couple. Jacob's got 5x5. Okay, we'll look for one more. Lorna's there. Cool. All right. Good evening, everybody. From a frigid, cold Tennessee. It was a whopping 19 degrees this morning when I was outside working. So, yeah, that was fun. You know, it's supposed to be in the deep south where it's supposed to be warm, right? Yeah, I guess that ain't happening. So, fortunately, we're supposed to be up in the 40s tomorrow. Ooh, you know, spring is coming. All right. So, happy Saturday, everybody. Glad you guys took an hour out here to spend some time with family and friends, and we will have a little bit of fun tonight. As usual, thank you to everybody, but especially my moderators, Jacob, Lorna, Robert, North Shore, and Lucky Dame for being in here to keep the riffraff out. You know, y'all know how that one goes. We'll get into it in a few minutes. But, okay, so let's start on a few things. First off, I told you guys yesterday about this, all right? A little bit better news, and I'm going to do that drawing tomorrow. KKR, who is one of y'all, has some seeds to do as well. So rather than her send it to me and everything like that, just waste time because we're trying to get this to people, I'm going to draw 9 names tomorrow, and I've got 5 boxes to send, and she's got 4 more. So thank you to her for putting that together and getting something out to everybody so we can get some seeds to people. If you didn't see that video yesterday, go on to the video yesterday, because the only way to get in that drawing is on yesterday's video. It's Sense of Community Free Seeds is the title. Watch the video, follow the instructions. It works similar to my normal giveaways. That's how we'll do it, okay? Except it's not going to be a live stream. But go check that out. So that's that. Second one on the same thing here for anybody. One of y'all, who was it? Laura Killa sent me a email this afternoon on a website called freeheirloomseeds.org. And if you go there, this page will send you 4 packs of heirloom seeds, whatever your choice. And they've got a whole, I mean, there's got to be 100 different things on here for free. They appreciate a donation. If you can donate, help them with some postage and stuff like that. But if you can't, there's an opportunity to get some free seeds if you need it. Okay, so I wanted to bring that out to everybody. Next one I will give you is this. If I can get back to the right screen, there we go. Mrs. P and I were at the grocery store today, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, but staying on the same topic here, at least by me, and probably I'd say anywhere people zone 6 or better, maybe even zone 5 at this point, fruit trees are starting to come out. Now, y'all know that fruit trees can be very expensive, and obviously they take time to grow, but you gotta, you know, you can't plant a tree 3 years ago so you can harvest this year. You got to plant it sometime. We have space for another fruit tree. I saw all these fruit trees. I was like, hey, now these were 2-year-old fruit trees, so they weren't huge. They're maybe about 4 feet high. $17. Hell of a lot better than the $79 to $99 that I was seeing at, you know, the online, you know, maybe occasionally you find them at Home Depot or something like that for $50. But I figure, okay, $17 for a tree. If it doesn't make it, okay, I'm out $17. If it takes me an extra year before I get fruit on it, fine. I'm going to have to eat 4 years from now too, rather than not just 3 years from now. But start taking a look for fruit trees if you want to plant them, because fall was a better time, but now is still, well, it's cold because hopefully they've got the chill hours they need. But find them now while you can before you're picking the leftovers from everybody. Okay, just saying. All right. Obviously, the ground is frozen here right now, so my little tree is sitting. It's actually about, well, not be 4 feet by the time the root ball's in the ground. Uh, it's sitting in the house. It'll go in later this week once the ground thaws out a little bit. But you can, worst case scenario, you can always put them in a big pot of dirt and keep it in the house till, if you see them now, keep them in the house now and then plant them in the yard, once there isn't 2 feet of snow on the ground. So just some things I wanted to bring up there in regards to food, which is going to be kind of important for everybody. So, okay. That being said, a few of you guys emailed me on this afternoon. Yeah, Potato Joe is now officially Mashed Potato Joe. He took all the sanctions off of Iran today, so they're free to go ahead and create whatever nuclear whatever they want. Oh, but they're just going to create it for power usage, right? Because so many intelligent people trust the Ayatollahs in Iran. Dumbass. This is, again, I'm desperate for whatever I can to get a win in the column. I don't know. Trump moved the Israeli embassy. Biden gave Iran nuclear capabilities. Okay. God. So yeah, if I was living in Israel right now, I'd be pretty worried. But that's that. Let's see what else we got to go on. We're starting to hear about people in Canada. Just a few minutes ago, before we came on, I guess we now have people wanting to run for prime minister in Canada. I have no idea where the Canadian or when the Canadian elections are, but Pierre Poilievre, if I'm pronouncing his name right, is a conservative running for prime minister. So I know they just had the Special Olympics, yeah, with Justin Trudeau, it is the Special Olympics, special election last year. But I don't know when the next one is, but at least we have some people coming up and saying, we got to get this moron out of here. So crossing our fingers for the folks up in Canada. You guys all saw what's going on with the GoFundMe thing with the $10 million worth of donations to the convoy. This is going to get pretty interesting, because this morning I put the video out and GoFundMe was saying, oh, you need to request a refund. Then apparently this, not because of me, but apparently this was completely blown up all over the internet this morning. And GoFundMe came out and said that they're just going to automatically refund everybody. Might be because there is a big push, all over the internet, for people saying, get a hold of your bank, stop payment on the credit card, ask for a chargeback. You'll get your money back immediately, and GoFundMe get hit with somewhere between a $15 and $35 fee. Vengeance is the dish best served cold. Now, GoFundMe coming back and saying, we're going to just voluntarily refund everybody. There's a problem with this, guys, okay? And leave it to me to figure out the sneakiness, okay? First off, remember, there's already been $1 million distributed of that money to the convoy. So how are they going to determine who gets their money back and who doesn't? Are they going to say, well, gee, we gave out $1 million, there was 10, so we'll give everybody back 90% of their contribution? Who knows? But here's the bigger one. In the press release that they said they were going to give the money back, they said, please allow 7 to 10 days, meaning business days, okay, to get your credit from on your credit card. Now, here's the issue. Today's Saturday. It's not a business day. Tomorrow, not a business day. So the first business day is Monday. 10 business days, including Monday, is the 18th of February. The deadline on the refund form that they put out this morning was the 19th of February. So I'm telling you this is what I can see happen. You're going to look, oh, it's been 7 days. You're going to call up GoFundMe and go, well, wait till it's been 10 days. Wait till it's been 10 days. So you wait till it's 10 days, which is Friday. It doesn't hit your bank. Saturday, the deadline runs out. Monday, you call them up and say, well, you told me to wait the 10 days. I waited the 10 days. It's not here. Now what? And they're like, oh, we're sorry. The deadline's already passed. We're giving your money to BLM. I don't know how it works with asking your bank about a chargeback, but I think that's the best way to do it. Screw them. Okay. That way also, you'll also get your money refunded to you basically instantly. So not a problem there. Let the bank fight it out. That's what you pay these annual fees for, or get robbed on interest, either what you're paying on a credit card interest or the fact that they pay you a pittance on your debit card or whatever it is. That's the bank's job. Let them deal with it. Okay. That's what they're there for. So, you just get your money back in your pocket and let them deal with GoFundMe and screw them. And then, of course, I put up in the video, if you want to contribute to the Truckers Convoy, Give, Send, Go, the link is up there for that. So, okay, so those are some starting points that I wanted to talk about this evening, and we will start with all of that. Yeah, see, Lorna says BLM has enough problems of their own. Yeah, well, they need money for their legal fees. So yeah, don't think that GoFundMe won't sit there and give them a money-raising platform to do that. But all right, so let's get into tonight. As usual, I ask everybody, please keep it PG-13. Okay, like I say every week, your teenagers have probably heard the language I use occasionally. Your 6-year-old, probably not. Okay, so I ask you to do the same. Please be polite to everybody in here. No name calling. Difference of opinions, fine, as long as it's done politely. And we get Displaced Jersey Mike. Thank you for the super chat. But yeah, I just totally lost train of thought. Brain dead. But okay, so where was I? So just keep it clean. Train of thought. Difference of opinion is totally fine. Okay, as long as you keep it polite. And like I said, there's in the comments all the time, people decide to throw daggers at me, throw daggers at some of you guys occasionally, and I just get rid of them. And just so anybody that's new here knows that too. The moderators have carte blanche in here. Real simple. You want to be an ass, don't expect to do it a second time. We don't do 300-second timeouts here. You want to be an ass, you're just going to get the boot. That's it. You're gone. Goodbye. End of story. No skin off my back, no skin off yours. And anybody who thinks that he's never going to do something like that. There's well over 1,000 people on the blocked list from this channel right now. And I'll take the ratio anytime. We got 65,000 people who like being here and 1,000 people who are pain in the ass. Okay. I'm fine with it. I think the other 65,000 people are too. So, all right. As per normal on YouTube, please, if you've got questions for me, put them in all caps. I totally encourage you guys to have conversations amongst yourselves. Mods, I totally encourage you guys to put up links to other good channels. In case you guys don't know, North Shore's got his own channel. Lucky Dame has got her own channel. I would advise you to check out both, though North Shore is kind of on somewhat of a hiatus right now. But you find some really good stuff on Lucky Dames, too. So go check that out. Her live streams on Sunday are a lot of fun. But, and I'm usually able to make those. So, okay. Let's get into this. Like I tell everybody, I start at the top. I cannot keep up with you guys. There's 1,300 of you guys in here now. I go as fast as I can through the questions. But when YouTube bounces to the bottom and I go back to the top, it doesn't take me all the way to the very top. So if I missed your question, please post it again. Okay. If I see it a second time, I'm just going to skip it. No topics are off limits. Believe me, we've talked about everything, gardening, politics, food storage, weaponry, whatever it would be. The only thing I ask, and I will not answer these questions, and I ask you don't even put them in the comments, are the YouTube voodoo taboo subjects, okay? Nothing on the vaccine, nothing on November 20th, or November 3rd, 2020, and no FJB or Let's Go Brandon stuff, okay? Other than that, everything's fine, okay? So, that being said, going to the top and seeing what I can find. Earliest one I can find, Yaya 18. We have a fig tree, a peach tree, a pear tree, a grapevine, and a blueberry bush. I've got them all now, except for the blueberry bush. The only thing I'm hoping you know, but anybody who doesn't, blueberries need acidic soil, guys. So you're going to have to get some soil acidifier for that, okay? Or mix in, literally, I kid you not, vinegar into the soil. But planting blueberries is something where you definitely want to pH test your soil before planting it, because it won't grow in neutral soil. It certainly won't grow in alkaline soil. So that video I did a week or so back on a pH tester, certainly if you're going to plant blueberries or azaleas or anything like that, you need to test your soil and make sure that you've got the right acidity level. Suburban Hillbilly says, yes, make sure the variety grows in your area. Exactly. And that's fruit trees, that is vegetables, whatever. I mean, onions are a perfect example of growing in your area. You got long day, short day, and intermediate day onions, okay? For my area, it's intermediate day, okay? You're going to be down south, it's going to be short day. You're up north, it's going to be long day. Don't try growing short day onions in Michigan, okay? You're not going to grow Vidalia Vidalia onions in Michigan. You're not going to grow Walla Walla oranges in Houston. It's just not going to work. Those onions are not suited for that climate. Same thing with fruit trees. I told you guys before about the difficulty I was having trying to find a cherry tree, because I love cherries, okay? But, Bing cherries or anything, the stuff that grows well up north, does not grow here. And finally, I found a sweet cherry called Sweetheart that grows in Tennessee, and I planted one of those last year. So yes, make sure the variety that you get, fruits or vegetables, grows in your area. And exactly as Suburban Hillbilly says, Home Depot could care less. Oh, we have a bunch of Alberta peaches. Great, put them on the shelves. Who cares if they grow in there? We don't. The people will lose the receipt, so they're not worried about getting their 1 year deal back. And if it lives for a year, by the time they figure, I'm sorry, your tree warranty's out. You dropped $75 on a tree. David Williams, Pinball, do you think the current resident potato in White House will ever close the border for the USA protection? No, he does not want to. He's fighting the Supreme Court any way he can. The Remain in Mexico policy, he's fighting this, everything they want. You see the videos out of the Border Patrol, with Mayorkas going, oh, we've got to let these people in, humanitarian need and all this. No. Biden has no interest in doing that whatsoever. His whole idea is, let's bring in more cheap labor, because remember what the Democrats want. They want feudalism. They want them being the rich and everybody else being poor, okay? If they can bring in a lot more Guatemalans, Hondurans, Haitians, whatever, that'll work dirt cheap, it drives the wages down for everybody. It's a race to the bottom, makes us all poor, and keeps them at the top. That's how they're destroying the middle class, and that's their plan. So no, I don't think he plans on stopping it at all. Joe G, sorry I missed this, but thank you for the super chat. It's greatly appreciated. Anonymous says prices are around $40 to $50. Yeah, I think you're probably talking about trees. And yeah, like I said, when I saw that for $17, I'm like, I don't have anywhere right now I want to put more. I mean, I've already got peach trees, pear trees, apple trees, cherry trees, fig trees. What else the hell do we have? Peach, pear, fig, cherry, apple. Yeah, that's all. Okay, yeah, that's what I got. So we got it. Oh, and then plum, and so we got another plum tree. Okay. Do. Paladin 1 says the police in Toronto moved the truckers out of an area. Okay, I haven't seen anything like that. I saw that there's more and more and more people showing up to these protests, and I guess what is it? The truckers now have, I think it's 5 border crossings blocked. So, I haven't seen anything about moving truckers out, but I did see something in Ottawa, and this is kind of a scary one, that the government in Ottawa is now using taxpayer money against the taxpayers. Okay, and I'm not talking about having police or anything like that. Sure, that's kind of using your own money against you. The government in Ottawa has ordered all the hotels to not rent any rooms out to the protesters, and instead the government used tax dollars to rent out all the rooms and leave them vacant rather than let anybody that's coming in from out of town rent a hotel. Now, where do you think that brilliant idea came from? That came from Potato, whose idea is to house all these migrants. Hey, let's put them up in hotels. And there are videos and stories all over the place of these migrant families, not only here in the States, but also in Europe, just taking over hotels and kids running wild and peeing in the hallways and busting elevators and doing all this sort of stuff, all on the government's dime, which in other words is yours and mine. Okay, we're paying for it. And so the people, the citizens who paid taxes can't use the amenities, but the taxes can be used for people who've never paid anything to disrupt the lives of the citizens. Again, just like Biden's Remain in Mexico, Biden's open border policy. Linda Lewis planted elderberries and blueberries last year. No room for fruit trees. There you go. Well, the elderberries are excellent for medicinal reasons or food. And I guess blueberries are good for both. So lots of antioxidants in blueberries. Good stuff. I want to get some blueberry trees in, but I'm doing so much in the yard right now. I got to figure out where everything's going. So it's like when you're planning on digging a pond, that kind of messes up your entire everywhere. Taking out trees and putting dirt and all this sort of stuff. It's like, if I put bushes in right now, forget it. They're just going to get covered somewhere. North Shore says pinball folks need to request to be paid back by GoFundMe. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, the hell with this. We'll do it automatically. Yeah, because I don't buy that for a second. They've lied to you every second of the way. Why do I expect they're going to tell me the truth now? And the other thing is, guys, if you put that request in, now you have a paper trail. You've requested it. And when they say, oh, we never have it. Well, I have the printout right here of the day I sent it to you. Oh, okay. That goes a lot further than, well, you said. So, a Cushnet prepper, how is BLM involved? Well, not officially, but GoFundMe, BLM is one of GoFundMe's preferred charities. And so they would certainly push to have that money diverted there. Now, of course, the organizers of the convoy are going to go, hell no. But, again, possession is 9/10 of the law. Don't forget about that. GoFundMe says, we have the money. Who are you to tell me what to do with it? There's a problem. The Attorney General in West Virginia is already working on putting a suit together. I'm hoping this completely puts GoFundMe out of business, because this is the hopefully this is the first domino to fall with some of this big tech bullshit. East Tennessee says, just want to thank you and North Shore for helping me get to 1,000 subs. Congratulations. Amy Arsenault, do I have a video on how to make homemade bone meal? Yes, I do. It was done shortly after Thanksgiving. So if you look somewhere around the end of November, there's a video there. It's something, I think I tell how to make bone broth and bone meal or something like that. Okay. Because yeah, that's where my turkey carcasses go, my chicken carcasses, chicken bones, everything like that. I will say this, guys, when you're doing it, poultry bones are a lot easier to do than beef bones. Beef bones, I mean, even after last time I did beef bones, I had to put it in the oven for 8 hours to dry it out, and it still wasn't dry. It still was somewhat greasy trying to do it. Chicken bones, about an hour in the oven, they're good to go. Let's see. I always go over the rules. Echo Rain Prepper. I posted a prayer video for my husband who's a trucker and for the word. There you go. Please watch it. Will do. Not right now. A little busy at the moment. Let's see. Kevin, any new thoughts on Russia and Ukraine? No, I'm still going to say what I've said since the beginning. Like everybody else is running around like Chicken Little. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. I'm still telling you, my opinion. Russia does not go into Ukraine. All right, just like I told you, my opinion. There was no tsunami coming from La Palma. And everybody else wanted to clickbait. The world's coming to an end. We're going into World War III. There's going to be a 400-foot tsunami. Tune in next week when everybody calls you out and says, bullshit. Russia has no reason to go in, okay? Biden has all the reason in the world to want to start this because he's desperate for anything to say, look what I did, okay? And you know damn well what's going to happen. Nothing is going to happen militarily whatsoever. And Biden's going to get out there sometime in the spring and go, look, by everything that I did, we kept Russia from going into Ukraine. Mark my words. That's it. He's going to try to mark this as a win. He's going to create a crisis that doesn't exist and then take credit for solving something that was never there. That's what's going to happen. Come on. Even when Ukraine is telling Biden, no, an invasion is not evident or imminent, that should tell you everything you know. When the country that's going that Biden's saying is under threat is saying, no, we're not. Please tell me this. Name one thing in the last 13 months that Biden's been correct about. And better yet, please name one thing since 1972 that Biden has been correct about. I won't hold my breath while I'm waiting. Okay, we shot to the bottom, so let's see where we got here. Darlene Rowan, what causes potatoes to be knobby? Okay, that could be if you're just talking about the shape, they'll just grow the way they grow. You might have had two that grew together, but watch how much potassium you have in your soil. Again, another reason for a soil test. Not potassium, phosphorus. If you have too much phosphorus in your soil, you will do damage to the potatoes like that. So pay attention to your phosphorus levels. Linda Lewis, feed blueberries like roses, or like azaleas. Same line there. Yeah, 18. Our blueberry bush is about 20 years old, and we usually get at least 5 gallons every year. Yeah, and anybody priced blueberries in the store lately? You get a pint, it's $5 or $6. It's like, okay, he's getting 5 gallons of it. So, sorry. Halftime break. Rooster says, North Shore put out a very nice tribute to another gentleman who's in need of some help. I'll leave the information for you, North Shore. Yeah, he did a video late this afternoon for Ark Wildman. Definitely worth going to check out Ark Wildman's channel as well. If one of the mods had put that link up, I would appreciate it. Let's see. Voodoo Queen says, my seed box is being held hostage in South Carolina. Somebody's email is non-deliverable. R. Thomas. Okay, so R. Thomas, if you are in here, please contact us and let us know what's going on. Sissy Taylor, what kind of soil for a peach tree? I've got rocky clay soil here, and it's fine. I mean, most fruit trees aren't too particular. Once you can get them started, you don't want to plant them in a swamp or something like that. That's not going to work. But fruit trees do need that good moisture. So once you get them started using some compost and stuff like that, the native soil is usually pretty good. I'm not going to say everywhere, because you're not going to plant the peach tree and get good luck in planting it on the beach or something. But if other trees are growing in the area, you should be okay planting fruit trees. Basically a neutral soil is going to be fine for peach. Susie D, Pinball, get dwarf cherry trees. We had to cover the tree with cheesecloth, otherwise bird. Yeah, I've got dwarfs. Everything I have is dwarf, which still means 10 to 12 feet. But, fortunately, it means I can still reach almost the top. Jennifer Jacks, I have grapevines that produce leaves, but not grapes. Is there something I should use on them? I can tell you what your problem is. You've probably got all male grapevines. I doubt you've got all females, but what you need for grapes are a male and a female, and otherwise you're not going to get anything. Okay. Again, the pollen, they are not self-pollinating. Let's put it that way. That would be my bet, is that you've got all one gender of grapevines. So see if you can figure out which gender you have and plant the opposite, or better yet, go to the store, get yourself a male, get yourself a female, plant 2 more grapevines, and then you got them both. Jason Mujahideen, okay. Pinball, do you think it's time that we just go down and close it ourselves? I'm not sure of the context. If you can give me a little bit more, because I'm sorry, Jason, I can't keep up in real time, so you gotta put the context of what the question is about. If you're talking about the borders, the Mexican border, which is going down and closing it, that's my guess as to where you're going. I think that's a lot of what's going to happen. You're going to eventually see, at least in Texas, my guess is that people are going to start getting deputized by the Texas Rangers and being able to patrol themselves, because this is getting ridiculous. We had over 2 million people come in last year, and it's not slowing down. Sugar in the Attic Homestead, have I ever grown dewberries? No, I have not. So that one I'm not going to be any help on. Morning Light, how's the fig tree doing, and what kind is it? We've got brown turkey figs, and the one that gets a little bit more sun is doing better than the one that doesn't quite get as much, because we get the tree cover, and as the sun comes over, one gets about 10 hours of sun, one only gets about 8. The 10-hour sun tree is getting better, but they take a while to grow, guys. We planted them 2 years ago. We have not gotten a fig yet. But again, this is the same thing. We've got 2 peaches last year, 2 peaches the year before. Last year, we got 2 plums. That's it. We've had these trees in the ground. The apricot, the pear, the peach, the plum, we've had in the ground for 2 years. The cherries and the apple we just put in last year. We might get a little bit more fruit, but you planting fruit trees, you're looking at a few years before you start getting any harvest. So that's why I said, get them while you can. Uh, Sissy Taylor, do I leave coffee grounds wet or do I dry coffee grounds? Okay, if you're going to put them in your compost pile, put them in wet. Who cares? If you're just going to mix them into the garden or put them underneath the tree, and no, you're not going to acidify your soil, putting coffee grounds, used coffee grounds in the soil, wet is fine. If you're going to use them for a dry fertilizer, like I do, okay, put them on a cookie sheet, put them in the oven for about an hour, dry them out completely. Reason why you want to dry them out completely, as soon as you put them in a jar, if there's still any moisture left in them, guess what you just created? A great place for mold to grow. So, yes, dry it, put them in the oven, 250, something like that. Leave them in there for, spread them out nice and thin, leave them in for an hour ago. They'll get nice and dry and you're good. Elizabeth Nelson, the beavers got my fruit trees. Okay, I don't have that problem. I don't have beavers around, but yeah, I can see how that'd be a problem. Let's see. Jennifer Jones, how do you keep the critters from eating your fruits and veggies? Okay. Depending on what you got. Now, fortunately for me, I've got a couple of dogs. They're inside dogs, okay, but they go outside 5 or 6 times a day, and I let them run around the yard, and so the smell of dog is in my yard. That's a deterrent. I plant marigolds. My little marigold seedlings. I plant marigolds around my gardens. Because the smell of marigolds is a good deterrent for deer, for rabbits, that sort of stuff. Okay. Then when you're talking about other pests, like aphids or tomato hornworms or anything like that, one of the things I planted yesterday, I started out my I always hate pronouncing this word, nasturtiums. Okay. It's a flower. Plant those outside your garden, and things like aphids and tomato hornworms and that sort of stuff like the nasturtiums better than they like your tomatoes, your cucumbers, whatever would be. So it's almost a sacrificial plant. It's a pretty plant, nice red flowers and everything like that, but it's my sacrificial plant. Let the bugs go chomp on that. I'm not overly worried about. Leave my vegetables alone. So a lot of the things you're looking at, you need to try to find what's a natural way of preventing it. Because if we do get it into an SHTF event, guys, there is no 7-dust to go by or whatever. Yeah, you can use 7-dust and everything like that. And occasionally, if I got a bad problem, I will. All right. Most of the time, I try to keep my gardening to what's free or real cheap. I'm not a believer in organic, guys. I think organic is the biggest fraud out there. Okay. There's 2 watermelons sitting in the back in the storeroom in the grocery store, and the guy's got a roll of stickers that says organic, and he just slaps it on a watermelon. Says, good, we can charge $3 more for this one. That's all organic is to me. But obviously my reason for doing the things is saving money, and as being a prepper, there's not going to be bags of fertilizer, or pesticides or anything like that. So I try to figure out what I can do to prevent the stuff naturally as well. I mean, go back 100 years, how do you keep crows out of your corn? You put a scarecrow in. With the marigold thing isn't something new. I mean, these are all old ways of doing things. But then again, other things. Get yourself some vegetable netting to put over the top. If you've got a problem with, the birds coming in and eating your tomatoes or whatever, put some of that netting over the top. It'll keep the birds out. If you grow strawberries, a trick that I've never tried it, but a trick I've seen is get little rocks and paint them red, put them right next to where your strawberries are. Before the strawberries ripen, the birds will come down, they'll peck the rock, and they'll realize it's not a strawberry, and you'll train the birds that whatever's down there is not edible. So, lots of good little tricks. But like I said, the I'll give you another one. The beer trap for snails. Take a little yogurt cup, bury it, just so the end is totally level with the soil. Pour some stale beer in there. Snails love the beer. They go in there, they drown. Okay. I mean, you can just put a can of beer right there, and they will literally crawl up the side of the can of beer and go into the can of beer. So, if you had a party and somebody left half an empty beer, use that for something. Good way to get rid of snails and slugs. But look for some of these crazy ideas. There's a few of them right there, but that's how you're going to keep the critters out. Plants that they don't like, garlic and onions are great. The only problem that I have in my garden, and it's not even a bad one, is I will get, what are they called? Sand fleas in there. And I mean, not dog fleas or anything like that, but they'll get in there and I'll lose a little bit because of that. Okay, fine. But you got to figure Mother Nature is going to take 10% of your garden anyway. So just plan accordingly. Southern Prepper 3. Pinball advice on what you think about a heat light plastic container veggie planting. Do you think it'll work? Okay, so I'm trying to picture what you're talking about. Using a heat lamp? No, you don't want to use a heat lamp. You want to use grow lights or the right lumens and Kelvin shop lights, which is what I use. Okay, I mean, again, I've done the videos on it before. I've told you guys you don't have to have the red and blue lights unless you're trying to get plants to fruit under those lights. If you're just trying to get the green growth, seed starting, your white lights are fine. Save yourself a bunch of money, okay? If you're talking about the plastic container veggie planting, if you're talking about your little seed cells and stuff like that, that's exactly what I do, okay? But I'm not using a heat light. A heat is not, that much heat is going to be too much. Even a heat mat that you want to put underneath things like your peppers, your eggplants and stuff like that to get them to germinate, you're only looking at those being about 70 degrees. You start putting one of them big orange heat lamps on there, you're gonna burn all your plants up if you don't melt the plastic. Wilderness Woman, fertilizer costs were to go crazy. Now with the fire in North Carolina, how high do you think it's going to go? I don't think the average Joe is going to have much luck buying fertilizer at all this year. Okay, certainly not affordably. But you get the fertilizer, that's going to cause more shortages. Okay, what's inflation, guys? Too much money, not enough product. Okay, there's too many dollars fighting for the same thing, so the prices go up. Now we've got less fertilizer because of this fire. The farmers need it. That's where it's going to go first. Okay, and forgive me for saying this, but hopefully the farmers do get it because the whole country needs to eat, not just us. We can take care of ourselves. That's why I harp on making your own fertilizer. I mean, it was funny if you remember the fertilizer video I did. One of the first things I showed you was filling that bucket, I guess you want to call it, barrel, with all the material, the leaves and everything like that. It was full, if you remember that. It's probably down to about that high. There's a bunch of thick tar black liquid fertilizer in the bottom of that already. And it's just been sitting there all winter just doing its thing. So it's exactly, there's going to be some super rich fertilizer for me to use that was free. D9 from the great state of Texas. Pinball, can I plant potatoes now? Obviously you're in Texas, okay, but I don't, big difference in whether you're in El Paso or Dallas or Houston as to where being. If you're planting potatoes, you need that soil temperature to be about 60 degrees. So go out there, stick a meat thermometer in your soil for 5 minutes. If it comes back 60 degrees, you're good, okay? If not, you're too early yet. Susie D. Pinball, hire a teen or two from your high school. You do realize my county has 19,000 people. My county has one high school. There is one teenager within at least a few miles of me. She's 17 years old and female and is all about makeup. So, her ambition is to be a model or something like that. I don't think she's going to be helping me move concrete blocks or working in my garden at all. So, yeah, not going to happen. Spiral out, Pinball. Where do I see the stock market going this year? That would be back to my January 1st video. But yeah, I still see a massive correction in the market. Back down. My guess is still the Dow goes below 20,000. So, said it last year, wasn't right. I still think that, just because the calendar flipped doesn't mean that the fundamentals of the market have gotten any better. The market is almost double what it should be based on a PE ratio. So, I'll give you that. Donna Mason, what do coffee grounds do? Coffee grounds are extremely high in nitrogen. They are great for helping the green growth in your plants. Okay, why you want you go buy lawn fertilizer. Okay, if you look at any fertilizer bag, and it's got 3 numbers on it. Okay, and that's the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, NPK. The first number is the nitrogen number. Go buy lawn fertilizer, and you'll see it'll be like 2800. It's all nitrogen. Why? Because that's what gives you green growth, which is your lawn. Okay. What we're having the problem in the fertilizer industry right now is the nitrogen issue, because the urea is a byproduct from natural gas. And with all the natural gas issues we have, there's no urea problems, there's no urea to be had, which means the farmers are short on the nitrogen fertilizer. So you need to get the nitrogen where you can. And one of the best sources for nitrogen is coffee grounds. Okay. It's the same thing like you're taking grass clippings, great source of nitrogen. Anything green, your compost pile that you're putting the greens in. The greens are your nitrogen that you're trying to put in the compost. Your browns, the leaves, the cardboard, the paper, whatever would be, the wood chips, that's the carbon. But coffee grounds are an excellent source of nitrogen. So that's what's going to help you with your green growth. Man, the time flies. Dottie A, Governor of Florida is putting a fraud case together against GoFundMe for truckers in Canada. Good. Okay, I hadn't heard that one yet. I'd only heard about the AG of West Virginia, so it's good that we have more people doing it. Sue N, can you plant potatoes in a bucket? How many holes in a bucket are needed for drainage? Yes, you can plant potatoes in a bucket. North Shore did a video on it last year and had John Zeckerly, no, nitrogen is not potash. But North Shore had a good video on planting potatoes in a bucket and shows you the whole way through on doing it. And he had decent results. So, take a look at that. If you've got a little bit more space than just a bucket, a kiddie pool works great. You can do something like that. You can literally, I'll give you this. If you're going to use bagged soil from the store, you can literally plant right in that bag. Okay. Open the top of the bag, put your potato in there, let it grow right in the bag. You're good. So you don't even need to go buy a bucket. You can do that. South Colorado Senator, Facebook took over a $200 billion stock hit. That's the start of big tech going down. Yeah. Oh, I told Mrs. P, I would love to see Mark Zuckerberg out on the street corner going, we'll work for food. Of all the people in big tech, he's probably the one I despise the most. Him and his masters of the universe bullshit. Let's see. And we just shot to the bottom. So back up we go. All right, let's see if I can do. Ian So say, what about eggshells? Do we need to put them in the oven for? Again, same thing, eggshells, you want to put those in the oven. You want to rinse them first, and then you want to completely dry them out. Eggshells are good for calcium in the garden. Definitely want to put them in your planting holes when you put your tomatoes or put your peppers in, because they, uh, the calcium is what's needed to prevent blossom end rot. I will give you this: when you dry out your eggshells, why you want to put those in the oven, any residue, anything that's on there that you didn't get out, salmonella. You guys know that. The last thing you want to do is introduce salmonella to your garden. How many lettuce recalls, spinach recalls have we heard for salmonella? You got to kill it in the oven. When you use eggshells in the bottoms of your planting holes, okay, crush your eggshells down, get them into a powder, whether you use a mortar and pestle, whether you use a rolling pin, whether you throw it in a blender, whatever. Get it to as much powdered form as you can. Put it in a bowl. Put a couple of drops of vinegar in it, because that's what's going to help release the calcium from the eggshells. Then put it in your hole. If you're going to use it like I use it I use it both ways, but if you're going to use it like I use it in the dry fertilizer, then just dry it out, crush it, and you're fine, because that's for a slow release fertilizer. But you're trying to do it to get rid of any pathogens, i.e. the salmonella on it. Cinema, silence, and classic films. Pinball, shotgun, or AR-15 for home defense. Why one over the other? Yes. And again, it depends on your home. Okay. I have both. Personally, I use turkey shot in the shotgun for home defense. I don't need something that's going to over penetrate. Okay. I don't need to be blowing massive holes in my walls if anything like that happens. Okay. So number 4, turkey shot works fine for me. Some people want to use double at buck or whatever. That's fine. I'm just telling you what my preference is. Why do I prefer a shotgun? A couple of reasons. I don't need to be hitting something from 200 yards in my house. I don't live in a mansion. Okay. It's 12 yards from one end of my house to the other. Okay. 35, 36 feet. Okay. I don't need an AR-15 for that distance. Okay. Also, with a shotgun, first off, the racking sound is a great deterrent. But second off, chances are if your house is broken into, it's going to be in the middle of the night. You are going to be a little groggy, whatever, to get moving or whatever it is. Your eyes aren't going to focus as well. Not that, this isn't Hollywood and you don't have these blast patterns that are, 6 feet wide with a shotgun, but, you still have, from any sort of distance, a softball size or something like that. I'm not worried about being as accurate with the shotgun as I can. That's my personal opinion. Do I have an AR? Yes, I do. So does Mrs. P. Okay. But for home defense, I have a 12 gauge, and in one of my videos once before, I showed you what it was. I like the riot type shotgun, not, you get your your double barreled shotguns or whatever it is, whatever, I just like a riot gun. My personal opinion. Pooh and Stitch, how to prevent vine borers on zucchini. Those you almost have to go out and pick off by hand. Get out there with a black light and look for them. That's going to be the easiest way to find them. But I don't have the problem, so I'm not going to be the best person with the answer. Of course, that probably means I'm going to have massive problems with it this year, but that one I don't know. Nasturtium flowers are edible, kind of spicy, delicious in a salad, Judy Rose says. Yes, yeah, if the bugs don't get them all. I mean, can I eat them? Sure. Do I? No, because like I said, it's a sacrificial plant for me. Healthy disrespect for authority. Doesn't organic mean glyphosate free? Organic means whatever somebody wants it to mean. Organic means, oh, they were free range chickens. Organic means, oh, they were grass fed cows. Okay. And I'll just tell you this. Did you use a dewormer on your cow? Guess it's not organic anymore. Okay. Did you water your cow from the tap? Oop, not organic anymore because there are chemicals in the water. You know, my opinion, but I'm just telling you. Amy says, if you have hormone problem, easy way to find them is with black light. Yep. Bobby Church Peck, how can I naturally keep Japanese beetles away? I wish I knew, okay? Because in the fall here, and it's probably the same as you, it looks like an episode of The Birds for a couple of days when all these things hatch. I mean, we have millions of them flying around, and they get in the house, and I still, every once in a while, will find one in the house. For the most part, in the garden, they're good because they eat aphids, okay? But when they hatch in the fall and you just get buried with them, nobody likes them. I wish I knew how to keep them away in the fall. I want them in my garden. I just don't want them in my house. I don't have an aphid problem in the house. Linda Friesen, the federal definition of organic is grown in a manner conducive to the health of the waterways. Not health of the animal. No, couldn't be that. Health of the waterways. I'm not eating the damn waterway, okay? You know, duh. Everybody has their own belief. I'm just telling you mine, okay? I think the only reason organic is it's a great way for people to make more money by slapping a sticker on something. Paul Taylor says snails are raging alcoholics. Well, I don't know. Non-alcoholic beer works for them too, so they just like the beer. And at the moment, I do too. Let's see. 1776 Patriot for Life. I cut a dead fig tree down to 2 inches. It grew back 5 trunks out of the stump. Never dug them up. Yeah. Because that's how they grow. It's not like a tree. You know, it doesn't have one stalk. A fig tree is more of a bush. Aphrodite Country Human. Do I think silver goes down if Russia invades Ukraine? No, I think actually the exact opposite. I think if anything happens in Taiwan, if anything happened in Ukraine, which I don't believe in, if anything happened between Israel and Iran, precious metals go up, oil goes up, commodities go up, and the stock market goes down. Jim Winter, how do you keep grasshoppers out of the garden that is enclosed? Frogs? You'd have to get some sort of grasshopper trap. That would be the only thing I can think of. Again, I've got praying mantises around here, so that helps keep some of my bug problems. I don't have that. I don't see the problem is, guys, where I've been, I haven't had bug problems. Here, I don't, with the exception of what I said. Las Vegas, nothing. Las Vegas, you're more worried about scorpions, okay? And then in Salt Lake City, I didn't have bug problems whatsoever just because it's high desert and then it's, winters. So my knowledge on the bugs is not going to be super useful to everybody. I mean, I still learn stuff. I still do things that I know from my grandfather teaching me, but I'm not going to be the greatest resource for that one. Let's see. ACS Wild, have I tried winter sowing? No, I have not. Whiskey Woman Whisks, how long would I need to wait for horse manure to be usable? When you can no longer tell it's manure is going to be best, so you don't have the little hockey pucks, being polite. But if I'm not mistaken, horse manure needs to compost for about a year, if it's not even a little bit longer, fresh manure. So, but again, that's all going to depend on how it's done. If it's just left sitting in the field, it's going to take longer. If it's put into a compost pile, it's going to go quicker. But yeah, horse manure is definitely something you can't use green. I I mean, to be on the safe side, put it in your compost pile now and use it in the fall. Deborah, thank you for the super chat there. You just had a friend in Canada say Canada's under martial law as of 6 p.m. today. Somebody better prove that one. I mean, if that's true, and the only way I'm going to believe that one is if I turn on CBC, Fox News, Bloomberg, the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, and everybody says Canada's under martial law. If I don't hear it that way, I don't believe it, because that's not something to be taken lightly. Okay, I'm going to do one more because it is 10 o'clock, so let me see if I can find something real quick. Quinn 368 Pinball, when using coffee grounds for fertilizer, do you put it in the ground or on top, or should I till and then put it down under, put down? Also, toss the filter into your compost pile, no problem. If you're using it for fertilizer, fork it in a little bit. You can put it on top, and I mean, what I'll do is I'll spread all my fertilizer, and then I'll lightly till the entire garden in a couple of weeks before I'm going to go out and plant in it. Okay, so kind of let that fertilizer get a chance to get worked in with the garden a little bit. So you can put it on top, just expect it's going to take that much longer. At the beginning of the year, when I do all my slow release fertilizer anyway, I just till it in, because then throughout the rest of the year, I'm using liquid fertilizer, so I don't worry about it at that point. And coffee is one of the ingredients in my liquid fertilizer too, if you watch that video. So, all right, guys, thank you much. Have a great Saturday evening. We will see you all in the morning. And one last reminder, if you did not sign up for the seed giveaway that I'm going to do tomorrow and you are interested in it, please go back, watch that video, and put your entry in the comments there. Have a good one, y'all. Pinball out.